Before we begin, you guys should know that I'm running a poll asking you guys whether you want new content for Starcraft II Co-op or not. It's a yes/no question. It's a simple poll. I'll link it down below. Please vote. I need you guys. So now, let's get to it. 1v1 is getting a balance change. This was posted by one of the guys who runs the ESL Pro Tour. That's the 1v1 league for Starcraft 2 1v1. And they're trying to get balance changes to how the units function in 1v1. That's big because it shows that Blizzard is still willing to change the game for the players. I think that's really important here because even though they're not currently developing anything for co-op, it shows that they can still be convinced to change stuff. And how I know this is because the 2v2 guys, the 3v3 and 4v4 guys have also put forth a suggestion, a proposal to change stuff. They're not really asking for new stuff to be added in, but apparently there are existing maps that they want to be added in, or at least cycled in for existing maps so that the gameplay itself can get a refresh. And I think that's really big because you can see here that if you actually look at their forum post on Reddit, that they've actually banded together as a community to come forward and request that Blizzard just code in the work that they already did, the testing, the map creation that they already did. All Blizzard has to do is to code the change in, and that will instantly give them a change, a refresh of how they play their game. And this is how I think we can work on getting new Starcraft II Co-op content. And I know and agree that getting Blizzard to do anything at this point is kind of a Herculean task. It's quite difficult to even get them to listen, and even if they do listen, it's gonna be more work on our end. So here's how I think our request for Blizzard to change Starcraft 2 Co-op, or to at least add something or change something for Starcraft 2 Co-op would go, just to kind of refresh the way we play the game. First, it should require minimal effort on Blizzard. The question for Blizzard should be why not, rather than why should I do this? If we have the changes already coded in, if they're tested, they're localized, they're completely airtight and polished, all Blizzard has to do is upload it to the servers and it'll run perfectly, then it'd be kind of foolish for them not to take our suggestion, our changes, proposed changes for Starcraft 2 Co-op. Second one is that it should be sustainable by the community. The thing is, if it's a one-time thing, the change may get through, but at some point it'll kind of just stop. Like how Blizzard's been developing co-op is first they added the masteries, then mutators, then the ascension levels, and then prestigious. It's not a sustainable way to create new gameplay for Starcraft 2 Co-op. How I feel is the change that we should put forth should be sustainable. It should keep refreshing the way we play the game. The next one, we should establish trust. Of course, if we actually manage to get something through the Blizzard and they upload it and it just messes up the rest of the game, if it deletes units in 1v1, if it makes campaign quests uncompletable, that will just completely ruin Blizzard's trust in co-op players. We have to establish that we are trustworthy, that we want what's best for the community and for the game, and we will actually make the game better for minimal effort on their end. That's important. Minimal effort on their end. Next, we have to include all communities. So right now, I have a thing going on with my small channel. I have about, let's say, 15,000 or so subscribers, and about 1,000 of them do watch my videos, and I'm extremely thankful. But we need more. There's another community run by, well, not run by, I believe it was by Yuri Prime. He has a Discord server, and it's quite active there, much more active than mine. There's also the Chinese community, the Korean community of co-op. If we need to band together, if we band together as an entire co-op community and walk forth to Blizzard with our suggested changes, I think that will get them more inclined to push our changes because we all agree on it. It's kind of unanimous on our end. Finally, well, not finally, we have to show interest in co-op. I think it's important that Blizzard realizes that a lot of its players, especially in co-op, are still active and passionate about the game. This is why I linked that poll. I need to know for sure, because personally, I don't know how many people are still actually interested in getting new content. I certainly am. I'm passionate about co-op, you know this. But I don't know how many more people out there are actually passionate about Starcraft II Co-op. That's why I need you guys to vote in the poll. If you would like to see new content for Starcraft II Co-op, yes, please vote in there. If you don't, please let me know. That was also valuable feedback. That will at least let me know if all this work that I'm doing is actually not worthwhile. Please do vote. Please let me know. With all these characteristics taken into account, I have come up with a sort of roadmap to slowly reignite the development, or at least change and refresh the way co-op is being played. Here it is. I've created a sort of step ladder that starts with bug fixes at the very just above my head here. It starts with bug fixes. We're currently in this spot right now, and it goes to adding new weekly mutations, balance patches, prestigious commanders, new prestigious, new commanders, and then new maps. So you can see as we go up the steps here, the amount of work and trust required by Blizzard is higher than the previous one, which is why I believe we should follow the steps one at a time and just establish expertise and trust in Blizzard that people do want this, and what we're doing is actually good for Starcraft II Co-op. Next, you might notice that some of these require extensive testing, and I do have a list of things that I need later on in the video, so please stay tuned for that. Anyway, so we are here right now in Phase 1. As you may or may not know, I have got in contact with Blizzard via Hearthstone to somehow send bug fixes. I don't know how to code bug fixes, but Starcraft does know, and with his help, we were able to push through bug fixes that have changed the way co-op is being played. This is where we are right now. Blizzard at least knows that we can give them code, that it works, and it improves the game. It's not new content per se, but at least it somehow refreshed the way we play the game. That's the important thing right now. And Blizzard should actually do this. They should do the bug fixes that we send them, because it's in their interest to fix their game. If the game's not running correctly, they have to fix it. And if the fix is already available for free, why not take it? So this is where we are right now, like the bottom of the ladder. We have to climb it. The more trust we build with them, the more changes they would, I hope, be willing to take from us. So after that, Phase 2 is where the new content begins. So all the mutators already exist. Well, not all. There are some that are in Magura maps. There are some more in Nexus Coop. But all the mutators that Blizzard needs and we need to create new interesting challenges are already existing in the co-op section of the game. So all we need to do is rearrange the existing mutators in a new way, add a map to it, and then let Blizzard know, hey Blizzard, we want this as one of the weekly mutations that will come up after we've cycled through, I believe it's all 200 or so of them. Right now, we have about a year or so left before it cycles back to Train of the Dead. And we have, that's about a year. We have a year to test, submit, and get the new maps or the new mutations in before it runs out of new mutations. So I have already actually come up with a plan for how to do this. Actually, Magura already has about 10 or 11 weekly mutation challenges that his community have tested and have curated, and out of, I believe, 100 or so submissions, they have narrowed them down to 11. I plan to just take those 11 and add more to it. I will also come up with a way to let you guys submit ideas for new mutation challenges using already existing mutations. So stay tuned for that. The plan is for me and probably a team to get together, work, go through all the submissions one by one, and then test them, and then from the entire list of submissions, pick out the best ones, and we send them to the guy in Blizzard. Hey Blizzard, we have these combinations of mutators that we believe are interesting. You should add them. We've already figured out, I hope, how to code them. I will talk more to Starcraft about this, or someone else who knows. If you know how the weekly mutation coding works, please comment down below. I'll be very interested to hear what you had to say. And then, if ever Blizzard agrees The next phase, once we are agreeing to send mutations, weekly mutations to Blizzard for them to put out through the weeklies, the next thing is balance patches. This is where 1v1 is right now. Well, they do get new maps, but well, they're also here right now, or at least the new changes are here right now. So the number tweaks are easier to code because all the units, all the models, all the voice lines, all the abilities, all the interactions have already been programmed. And in this phase, all we need to change are the numbers themselves. For example, how much health a Marine has. In one of Rainer's prestiges, they have twice the amount of health. Or we can change how much, for example, Super Gary's attack and health are. So those are just number tweaks. And I believe with balance patches, we can create new ways of playing co-op by just making certain units stronger and certain units weaker. Now, we're not in this phase yet. I believe phase 2 is where we should be focusing. But if we ever get here, we'll need a lot of people to help test this and see what would make for more interesting or at least varied co-op content. My idea here currently is to just tweak the numbers in between prestiges so that some prestiges that are not quite different from the others would get more playtime, so that they would be more, because right now whenever people play Stat Boy, the default is either the first prestige or the second prestige. The third one isn't much used at all. So the goal of the balance patch here is to just make that prestige more interesting and more tempting or more viable to use. Same goes for other, for example, Abathur third prestige. It's kind of a noob trap at this point, unless you really know what you're doing and you can be effective, but by and large, it's not really something that I would recommend to most people. With number tweaking, I believe there is a way to fix it. So that's phase 3. If we get there, the next phase will be prestige and commander rework. So this differs from phase 3, whereby we can start changing things in the way prestiges. For example, in Zagara's first prestige, Zagara is not available, but her units spawn, her Bailing Nests and her Scourge Nests spawn more free units. Maybe we can work something on that for here. For example, what if for one of Rainer's prestiges, you can build the Hyperion, but you can only have one of it available, but it's permanent. So that's something that you can change about how prestige works. All the units are basically still the same, or maybe not. What if in one of Artanis' prestiges, the hero Artanis is available? Now, the hero and model are already available. We just need to somehow code it into probably a top bar or a beacon or something where Artanis will spawn. I believe people already know how to do that because Nexus Coop mods exist. So we just need to change it in that way. And I believe if we ever reach phase 4, it is tricky, but I believe once we've established the trust for phase 4, we can actually do it. And then next is new prestiges. This is more tricky because if we want to add a prestige for one commander, a P4, we have to add a prestige for all commanders. So this is trickier than phase 4 because it has to be across the board for all 18 commanders. It's gonna be interesting here because we have to create entirely new gameplay, and I understand that it's not gonna be uniform across all commanders. There may be some commanders that pretty much have all their good prestige ideas already used. I don't know, maybe there are some ideas, but this is phase 5. If we get here, we should already consider ourselves successful in this endeavor to change the way co-op is being played. But if we ever get here, there's no reason why we shouldn't move on to phase 6. Now this phase 6, I've heard from sources, is more difficult than triple of phase 5. What that source said is that a new commander is more difficult to add than the entire prestige system. All 54 prestiges that are currently existing are easier to do than one single commander. And that makes sense because you have to get the concept for the commander, you have to make a working model, you need the code for it, you need voice lines, voice acting, you need localization, you need testing, you need interactions, you need ways to split the masteries and then the prestiges and then even the individual level progressions. That's a lot of stuff. And if we ever get here, I believe co-op will be all the way back. And I believe if we get here, it'll be even more sustainable because it's the community doing the work for it. I believe that to get here, it has to be entirely done by the community. We cannot rely on Blizzard for this one because Blizzard, as we've seen, doesn't create content in a sustainable way. If I believe if it's the community that does this, it'll be something that they can keep doing indefinitely, at least longer than how Blizzard does it. And that brings us to the final phase. Phase 6 is more palatable Blizzard because at least they earn something from it. Phase 7 is, yeah, this is one's difficult. In 1v1, they need to run map contests. Team Liquid specifically needs to run map contests for 1v1 for them to make new maps. This is more difficult for co-op because it's not just the terrain. For 1v1, you just need a balanced set of terrain, mineral locations, bases, combat areas, and doodads to make it a functional map. But for co-op, you need to add objectives which are different enough from the other maps to justify its own existence. You need, of course, the voice lines, you need localization, you need objectives, you need interactions with mutators. There's so much stuff you need to do for co-op, which is why if we ever get here, not only is co-op all the way back, it'll probably be reaching new heights. Of course, that's all a pipe dream. We need to start from phase 1, and we need a lot of things for this to work. So what do I need? Lots of things. First of all, time. I'm squeezing out this video in between dinner and heading back to work because my hands are quite full. That's why I'm asking for you guys, if you truly believe that co-op is worth getting new content for, please vote. And if you honestly don't think that co-op is not worth it, then vote no, or don't vote because that'll tell me all I need. But assuming it is worth content, or assuming it is worth more the work, I need time to get myself together to kind of assemble what stuff I need because I have a very driven community, several communities actually, on my Discord contacts, and I believe I can kind of gather together a somewhat coherent organization to get us to phase 2 and maybe beyond. And then I can probably do this myself. I asked Master to create a database for existing weekly mutations and weekly mutation submissions of existing mutators maps. I can probably do this myself, as I said, but it would be nice if someone else would be willing to manage that for us so that I don't have to do it myself and that it'll be managed in its free time. Ideally, there'll be a way to submit ideas for this and then counter check if it's already been submitted so that it'll just be sent immediately to the recycle bin or something, and a way for us to check and mark which ones we've already checked. I probably know how to do it in either Google Sheets or Excel. It'll take time, more than I have right now. So if someone can do this, that'd be great. Coders, of course. If we ever get to even phase 2, I'm not sure how long Tangarcraft will be able to help us in this regard, but he is actually working on phase 1. But if we can get more changes through, if we can get more bug fixes, if we can figure out how to put weekly mutations through to add to the list of weekly mutations, that'd be incredible. And what's more, if we get to the further phases, coders are definitely essential here. If we want to add new prestiges, or if we want to change the numbers, tweak the numbers on the existing mutator, if we want to add new prestiges, we'll need these guys. And by the way, among coders, probably guys who do the artwork. If we ever get to the higher phases of my 7-phase roadmap. And of course, this one's probably required regardless of where we are or which phase we are in. Testers, we need testing on bug fixes to make sure they don't create more bugs. We need testers on weekly mutations to ensure that they are fair and fun and they don't feature just dipolarity, please. Or maybe not, maybe you guys enjoy that sort of thing. I don't know. We need testers to test all the changes that we're going to get through. We need community liaisons. There are a bunch of disparate co-op communities out there. The Korean community, the Chinese community, the the forum community on Blizzard forums. I'm not sure how active that is these days. I do still post there every week, but I'm not sure how active they are. There are also some the Nexus Coop community. I'm sure they'd be very interested to get some of their map or some of their commanders or even real steel added to the real StarCraft II co-op roster. Yeah, if we can get liaisons to those communities or other co-op communities that I don't know about or haven't mentioned, that would be fantastic. And finally, probably the most important thing that I need is you. Like I said, if there is no support for this, if Blizzard sees that less than 1,000 people do want new content for StarCraft II Co-op, there is the reason to why not is because it might break the existing stuff they have for 1v1 arcade and campaigns. But if you guys are truly passionate, if you do love StarCraft II Co-op, even to a fraction of how much I love it, or even more, please vote in the poll. Please make your voices heard. It is linked down below. Please vote and let me know if you do want new content for StarCraft II Co-op or not. That is all from my incoherent rambling. Yeah, it's a long and arduous road. It's a 7 point roadmap. It's not easy, but at least I have laid it out there. If we want new stuff for StarCraft 2 Co-op, I believe this is how we do it. It may not be through me, but this at least provides the framework for how we should work towards it. Yeah, I guess we'll leave it up then to see if you guys do agree or not. I'll see you guys then.